Today we are going to discuss the Hamilton principle. This principle has been named after Sir William Rowan Hamilton. He was an Irish physicist and a mathematician of 19th century. This is one of the most important principle in classical mechanics. This principle, Hamilton principle, is more basic than Newton laws of motion, and almost 80% of the classical mechanics is covered by this Hamilton principle. You can develop the Lagrange equation from Hamilton principle. You can apply it to any system in classical mechanics. So before going to the statement of Hamilton principle, let us just discuss a few properties of this principle. There are a few terms that are associated with this principle. This principle has a very short statement and very easy to understand if associated with the terms that are associated with the statement. Okay, so first of all, the Hamilton principle is an integral principle. You all must remember that we derived the Lagrange equation from a differential principle, that was the D'Alembert principle. We used D'Alembert principle and derived the Lagrange equation. Same process could be done similarly. This Lagrange equation could be derived by using an integral principle, and that integral principle is Hamilton principle. The other important property that is associated to Hamilton principle is it is only associated to monogenic system. So what is a monogenic system? I am going to discuss it later after. The other thing, what is the importance of Hamilton principle? As I said before, almost 80% of classical mechanics could be understood. If you know Hamilton principle, you know 80% of classical mechanics. So this is a more fundamental principle. Similarly, in all other branches of physics, especially quantum mechanics, electrodynamics, the Hamilton principle has application in other branches of physics as well as in mathematics. So this Hamilton principle is one of the most important topics that we learn in classical mechanics and then apply it through classical mechanics and various branches of the physics. We remember we defined the Lagrangian function L is T minus V. This simply means that the difference between kinetic energy and the potential energy of a system is called the Lagrangian function L. So we have already defined this L many times previously, that this is half m x dot square plus y dot square plus z dot square in Cartesian coordinate system minus v of x, y and z, that is potential energy is a function of position only, x, y and z, the system is conservative. Okay. So partial L by partial x dot is equal to mx dot, and similarly partial L by partial y dot is my dot, and partial L by partial z dot is mz dot, that is the momentum. So we can say that this is the particle's momentum, the system momentums along x-axis. And partial L by partial x is equal to minus partial v by partial x is the force acting along x-axis. Now we can write that d by dt of partial L by partial x dot is equal to partial L by partial x. This is the Lagrange equation. We have already discussed it many times. So this equation could be solved to find an integral I which is equal to from t1 to t2 L dt. This equation is called an Euler-Lagrange equation, and I have already given you one assignment in which you have to derive this result. Assignment number 3 includes a question where you have to convert this equation into this integral. So this is called Euler-Lagrange equation. This particular integral I is called the action integral. This is the integral, this is called the action integral. I is equal to, and let us just assume that this is our equation number 1, the action integral, and this is our equation number 1. So now I am going to define the Hamilton principle in mathematical way. For homogenic system, the integral I always has stationary values. I is equal to integral t1 to t2 L dt has stationary values. So this derivative could be translated into the form the motion of a system from time t1 to t2 is such that the action integral I is t1 to t2 L dt, where L is the Lagrangian function, has a stationary value for actual path of motion in configuration space. The configuration space is the generalized coordinate space, and this motion of the system does never mean the actual physical motion. It is rather a virtual motion which we have discussed during the virtual displacement and virtual work. So this Lagrangian L in this configuration space will depend on, L will be the function of position, means coordinate system, generalized velocity and time. We have said that the motion of a system from time t1 to t2 is such that the action integral I, that is action integral, where L is the time, the Lagrangian has a stationary value for the actual path of motion in configuration space. So what are the stationary values? Let us consider this function f of x, which is rather a weird function, but it explains our stationary values way better than other functions. So I have pointed some points on this graph, that is A, B, C, D up to P. Now look at the value of A. A is the maximum value that is present on this graph. So A is the maximum value present on this graph, and this is called absolute maxima. Similarly, C, which for example E, if we consider C, B, C, E and D, C is large as compared to other values, so this is known as local maxima. Similarly, G is a local maxima, H is a local minima, and similarly M, there is no other value lesser than M, and this M is known as absolute minima. Similarly, K is a local minima, etc. etc. So, what is so special about all these values? The special thing about all these values from A to P, if you differentiate f of x at those particular values, the derivative of these functions will be 0. That is partial d by d x of f of x at all these values will become 0. Those points in a graph, those points in a curve where the derivative of a function becomes 0 are known as stationary values. So all these absolute maxima, local maxima, all those values, absolute maxima, absolute minima, local maxima, inflection, etc. are known as the stationary values of a function, because on those values the derivative become discontinuous, that is the derivative of the function becomes 0. Okay, so these are called the stationary values of a function. Monogenic systems are those mechanical systems for which all the forces except constraint forces can be derived from a scalar generalized potential, which may be a function of generalized coordinates, generalized velocity and time. Another thing that we have discussed already in Lagrangian equation, but I have just written for you. But if we have a system in which generalized potential is a function of coordinate system only, then if potential only depends on the coordinate system and is independent of q dot and t, then such a system is known as the conservative system. So here we have, let us suppose in order to understand the monogenic system, let us consider this example. We have a simple pendulum which is attached to a rigid spot. Let us make our system a bit interesting. The length of pendulum is given by L, the length of the string is L, and the mass of the bob is M. The gravitational force acting downward is mg, and the tension in the string, let us just say the tension in the string is F. There is a tension in the string F, there is the weight of the bob that is acting downward, and I have given charge Q to this mass. Now there are three types of forces. Let us discuss them one by one. First of all, let us see tension F. The tension force F is a constraint force. So the tension is a constraint force because the length of this bob, the length of this pendulum will remain constant. Then we have two other forces. One is electric force, F electric, which is equal to QE, that is charge on the mass multiplied by the electric field, and that force will pull the mass of the bob towards upward. Similarly, the other force is gravitational force, that is mass of the bob, and that is it is pulling the mass of the bob downward. Now look at these two forces. QE and mg. Both these forces we can derive from a scalar potential. Electric field is a negative gradient of electric potential, and gravitational field's weight is a gradient of gravitational potential. So this system in which the the mass of the bulb is attached is an example of monogenic system. The system is an example of monogenic system. I hope you understand the monogenic system. The Hamilton principle for a monogenic system states that the motion of a system from time t1 to time t2 is such that the action integral I is equal to t1 to t2 L dt, where L is t minus v, has a stationary value for the actual path of the motion. Now we have discussed the stationary values, we have discussed the action integral, and we have discussed the motion of the system. As we know that this L, usually we were considering the Cartesian coordinate system, that L is the function of x dot and t, but L could be a function of q dot and t. So in this case I am just going to I am just going to make this statement a bit simpler for ourselves, or we can say we can state Hamilton principle in another way. It becomes easy for us to understand. If we have arbitrary variations in Cartesian coordinate system, our Cartesian coordinate system is x, y and z. The arbitrary variations, virtual variations in x, y, z will be sigma x, sigma y and sigma z. Then the action integral in terms of Cartesian coordinate system shall be I is equal to 0. Now, if instead of using this Cartesian coordinate, I am just going to transform them into generalized coordinates, and the generalized coordinates x, y, z will become equal to q1, q2, q3, etc. Set of generalized coordinates and their respective generalized velocities represent or explain the Lagrangian function L. Action integral I is equal to t1 to t2 L dt must be stationary with respect to, if I transform these to arbitrary values, these will become equal to delta q1, delta q2, delta q3. This implies that the action integral in case of arbitrary changes in generalized coordinates, arbitrary variation in generalized coordinates will, if we apply the arbitrary variation in generalized coordinates, the action integral will cease to become 0. That is, in order to say these words simply, that is r delta I del t1 to t2 L dt is equal to 0. This is another way of expressing the Hamilton principle. So there is another way via which we can define the Hamilton principle is the Hamilton principle can also be stated from all the possible paths of a system from time t1 to t2. From t1 to t2 only the path is possible for which this integral become equal to 0. All the other a body will only take the only path in which this integral will become equal to 0. Imagine if I leave this marker, it will fall down to the earth and it will follow only one path, even though there are many paths possible, but it only chooses one path, that one path for which this integral become 0, this action integral become equal to 0. Hamilton principle states that the motion of a system from time t1 to t2 is such that the action integral is this. Now if we imagine that the small variations in the system, if we give system choices in choosing its path, it will only choose the path in which this integral becomes 0. This is another way of expressing the Hamilton principle. So let us imagine we have a configuration space in which there are two paths, say T1 and T2. Now the system has infinite number of ways via which it can reach from T1 to T2, but the system will only follow that path in which this integral become equal to 0, and all the other possible paths are restricted or disallowed for this system. So Hamilton principle could be generalized to two statements, that is the motion of a system for which and this the path that the system takes is known as the path of the motion. So what will be the path of the motion? The path of the motion will only be for which this integral becomes 0. We can generalize the Hamilton principle for that in two statements. That the statement number 1 states that the motion of a system from T1 to T2 is such that the action integral, that is given by this, for where L is the Lagrangian and has a stationary value for the actual path of motion, or simply a system will only choose that path for which this integral is 0.